If you want to rewire your brain, it must be done in a very specific way if you are using it to heal from chronic symptoms. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a very important thing you must stop doing in order to successfully rewire your brain. I'm Nick Hanna. I'm a Christian brain rewiring coach helping you reverse your chronic symptoms. If you like what you hear, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. So one major thing I recommend if you want to heal with brain retraining is to stop overanalyzing every little thing about your health. Why? Because this will heighten your chronic stress response and fuel your symptoms. You may be saying, what? Aren't I supposed to be optimizing my health in any way I can? If you're looking into improving your health, then yes, it really can be helpful to eat whole foods, to get good rest, exercise, etc. However, it may mess with your mind and do more harm than good when you are overly obsessing about your health. So let's talk a little bit about what this looks like. For me, I was hit with multiple severe symptoms and received diagnoses of mold illness, SIRS, Lyme, mast cell, severe sensitivities, you name it. And at this time in my life, I was obsessively tracking every little food I ate, how many carbs, proteins, fats I ate, every little ingredient in food, to a point where I was obsessive with what foods were high in oxalates, histamine, sulfur, you name it. I researched every diet under the sun, and because of this, got to a point where I was trying to avoid things that I may be sensitive to just to feel a little bit better. And I actually got to a point where I was eating two foods once, and I was 20 pounds underweight, super miserable, starving, looking super malnourished. And not only did I obsess over what I ate and what ingredients were in them, I also obsessed over what time I ate. I had to fast until noon or I couldn't think right, etc., etc., etc. My brain created a total trauma with food and diets. And I avoided so many foods that my brain developed a huge fear to basically all of them. And when you do this, your brain starts to see this food you avoid as a threat, and then they become a trigger for symptoms when you reintroduce them. So when I even looked at food, it was crazy. I would think, nope, can't have that, it's high histamine, can't have that, and then I'd start predicting symptoms, and I did this automatically, and I was really completely traumatized by diets and foods, and it stole my joy. And so I had a horrible relationship with food. I dreaded even eating. I hated being around people that were eating what they wanted. It was just a miserable time. I went to bed starving, and I woke up the same way. So this is called obsessing over food. And so now this same process began to happen to me with EMF, chemicals, mold, everything I was sensitive to. I believed everything I heard, and this was a problem too. I believed everything I heard from everybody I followed online. When a doctor told me to go on a candida diet, I took it literal, meaning I could never have fruit again because it has sugar. And it wasn't the doctor's fault, clearly, but the way my brain responded to the information I received about the diets and other things, toxins in the environment, really. And also infections and diagnoses I was told that I had. And I obsessively, researched the symptoms all the time, and it was a chaotic mess in my mind and my brain, and really in my spirit as well, as it really disconnected me from God and led me into a lot of fear instead of faith. And so before I knew it, I was so fearful I couldn't even be around a cell phone or near perfume or go down a laundry detergent aisle at Walmart. I also had to skip my family's holidays because I had to skip Christmas. It was a really hard time for me because, I believed I couldn't go into any building that may even have a hint of mold, or even a building that was 10 years old. It was off limits unless it was built within the last year and tested positive, or tested, I should say, negative for mold. So this is what happens when someone with limbic system dysfunction obsesses about their health. It completely puts them and locks them into a bubble where they just seem trapped, like they can't get out of it, or they feel completely isolated and miserable, and this is what happened to me. So other than overanalyzing all these things, I also overanalyzed things like my weight. I weighed every single day, like I told you I was underweight. I weighed several times a day, actually. And that will really mess with your mind and your body image. And so I also constantly monitored my bowel movements to see how much I went. If it wasn't quite enough, I'd end up taking all these constipation medications and supplements. And like I said, I monitored my symptoms like crazy. I had this little journal, and I basically was a slave to how I felt moment by moment. I was obsessed with living by my feelings, how I felt, obsessed with my symptoms. And if I felt even a little bit off, I thought it must have been, oh, it must have been that food. It must have been the cell phone. It must have been the fact I didn't sleep as well, or I didn't have a bowel movement. I mean, everything, every symptom all day long was tied to something I did, something in the environment, or something I did. And little did I know that the root cause was actually my limbic system. The root cause was in my brain as a result of stressors and traumas throughout life, and actually the way my brain perceived stressors and traumas throughout life. And it wasn't always the food, right? Like if food was the root cause, everybody would be sick, like, right? Food sensitivities are real, absolutely. But the sensitivities are there because the brain and the limbic system's out of balance. You've been stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze response for a period of time. So I got to a point where I obsessed over everything, like I said, with good intentions to optimize my health. Like, who doesn't want to feel healthy, especially if you're stuck with lots of symptoms? But this completely backfired as I created a greater stress response in my brain and then my body. And now I can truthfully say that I don't have to worry about what ingredients are in foods. I don't even look at the ingredients on the packages anymore of what I eat. I don't have to worry about chemicals, none of it. I don't need to monitor my symptoms. I don't ever think about symptoms, obviously, because I simply don't have them throughout the day all day. I don't have to, like I said, monitor my weight, my bowel movements, how many hours a night I was sleeping. I was just monitoring everything, and it was miserable. I don't need to avoid cell phones, buildings, cleaning supplies, or perfumes. Like, I am completely free from all of that. And it's not like I just stopped overanalyzing stuff. It's not like, poof, I just stopped monitoring all these things and I was good. Like, I had to retrain my brain, and that took a lot of work, but it was well worth it. And brain retraining provides lasting results, and it's amazing. So other than the fact that this thinking and behavior is creating a massive stress response in your body, leading to these symptoms, let's talk about another reason why I don't believe you should do this. So if you're trying to wire your brain to be healthy and happy again, like maybe you once were, whether it was years ago or whenever it was, then you're going to need to change your thinking and behaviors to be like that person, right? So like before you were sick, you didn't have to do any of these things to monitor your health. And so if you do like a brain retraining program, you will slowly reintroduce the foods and everything that you've been avoiding back into your life. Obviously, you're going to be training with them as well. You can't just add these things without doing a brain retraining program. Well, I can't emphasize that enough. And then you also stop believing and thinking like a chronically ill person. You're going to stop believing that you have all these things wrong with you, all these diagnoses, and you're going to believe that it's just the brain. It's just the limbic system out of balance as a result from multiple traumas and stressors throughout your life, putting you in that fight, flight, or freeze response, which is then causing the symptoms. And then just really believing that this can and will be fixed if you commit with brain retraining and, in my opinion, Jesus, which I believe is the answer to it all. So you will create, if you do a brain retraining program, you're going to create healthy pathways in your brain to make you feel emotionally happy and free from all restrictions, right? That's what everybody's looking for anyway, is happiness, these emotions of happiness, and that comes with retraining your brain for health and happiness. So I know it all seems simple. It all seems too good to be true at times. I remember when I first learned about all this, I was like, no, this is too good to be true. Like, all I really have to do is retrain my brain. But it works, and I can't stress that enough. So, however, this doesn't happen overnight. You didn't get sick overnight. You didn't develop these thinking patterns overnight. And so, like I said, you're going to need a brain retraining program like ours or somebody else's that can help you get out of it. So it does take commitment. It took me a lot of work to get where I am today, but it is achievable, and like I said, provides lasting results that like a simple supplement or detox protocol just doesn't provide most times. I'm not saying they can't help or they don't work or I know a lot of you have benefited from a detox protocol, but this is like lasting happiness. This is lasting calming inflammation, lasting results, so you can get back to your happy and healthy self. So that's it. If you want to schedule a free call to learn more, the link is below to do so. You just have to fill out an application. So in conclusion, also, if you are wanting to heal from chronic symptoms with brain retraining, you must stop overanalyzing every little thing about your health. You must stop living based off how you feel. And full happiness and health can be achieved by doing this. That's just one of the many things that I recommend. And so if you want to learn more, join our free Facebook group. It's called Brain Rewiring for Health and Happiness. Me and Nick will be there to welcome you in. And yeah, we'll give you free tips to get started. Anyways, God bless and Godspeed. Bye-bye.